It's been a lot of fun watching a lot of the reactions to this South Park Panderverse episode that dropped last week. People are still going on about it, which I think is absolutely hilarious. Because the people that seem most upset are the people that you're probably thinking of. A lot of them are trying to get the critics of Disney upset because, well, obviously the South Park episode mocked everybody. But I personally found a lot of it funny. And that was really the end of it for me. But some of these people are like, well, they were really making fun of you. Are you sure about that? Pretty sure they made fun of everybody because they went pretty hard on Disney, who's been putting out a lot of garbage. Now, the best part of all this is some of the reactions from people that used to work for Disney, notably Giana Carano, who went at somebody, this Around the Galaxy guy, looks like a massive Star Wars shill. Oh, let me correct that. Let me correct that. Not a Star Wars shill, a Disney shill. Because there's, to me, a difference between Disney Star Wars and regular Star Wars that came before Disney. The shit everybody actually loves. But some of these shills, man, they go out of their way to defend their queen, Kathleen Kennedy, and the company in hopes of maybe getting invited to premieres or something, I'm guessing. Gift baskets also are a big plus for these people. They love their chocolates and little plastic Star Wars thank you toys from Lucasfilm. So they're willing to throw everybody under the bus to get one of those things. So this guy, who blocked me, of course, because I retweeted him, said some things that weren't very nice, has blocked me. And I went and looked at his profile with an incognito tab, and it looks like he deleted his post. I don't want to say for sure he did or not, because maybe it didn't show up in that when I looked at it incognito. But it does kind of look like he maybe did. I don't want to say for sure. But what he did, go over this bound in the comics article who captured it, is he retweeted her first post, which I did a video on, and it was this one right here, where she takes a lot of shots at Kathleen Kennedy and pretty much name drops her finally for what happened to Giana when KK went out of her way to try to destroy her. We didn't know it was KK directly before this post, but now we do know. And then, of course, this guy says, oh, in case you were wondering, Giana Carano lost her goddamn mind. Calling her crazy. Like, this dude has barely 1,000 people watching his podcast, but, you know, he's an authority on what really happened between Giana and Lucasfilm. She wasn't going to take that sitting down and blasted basically shills. Listen to some of this. Do you always call a woman crazy just because she has more firsthand experience than you and says something you don't like to understand? Bit misogynistic, don't you think? Tisk, tisk. Of course, because this person is likely woke, and here he is correcting a woman. Not supposed to do that. Curious if your overlords pay you, or do y'all just go ahead and shove your whole head straight up their ass for free? I'm guessing for free. Might want to come out for some fresh air. She's right, though. A lot of them do this for absolutely nothing. For some added context, not just for you, but for the people reading, one of the things your overlords asked me to do was to unfollow certain accounts because they said bad things about Kathleen Kennedy. That was a huge red flag for me. Now, that's a big one. That's a big one. Giana has not said a lot other than, you know, that she did like one or two interviews talking about it, notably the one with Ben Shapiro. But, man, she did not drop this kind of bombshell info during that. Like, this is the first, a lot of us have heard of this. So, like you could see, for example, Giana follows me. Was she asked to unfollow me? Like, it's like, that's crazy, specifically, and she puts it in quotes because they said bad things about Kathleen Kennedy. Like, that's crazy. That tells us a lot. She does not like it when people make fun of her or talk about her at all. Like, notably, like that is big. At least it was to me. Like, wow, she is watching all of this shit. She's probably got Google alerts on her name. Talk about, like, narcissism and ego. Like, that is Kathleen Kennedy, man. If I were the head of one of the most powerful entertainment companies in the world, and I would know that haters come with the territory, and that maybe the haters are expressing their thoughts because they actually care, and caring is a good thing because as long as they care, well, hey, we still have something to work with. Maybe we can win their hearts back eventually, and maybe they do have some good things to add to the conversation, which they do and did. And at the very least, they are still buying the product. Look at Mando Season 1. Boom, the healing had begun. All that's true. But the thing is now, like, a lot of the people that used to care stopped caring. Like, I personally have kind of stopped caring about Star Wars. I have not even bothered to watch them really, to talk about them. With Ahsoka, for example, the only thing I talked about with that show, as far as I can remember, I think, pretty sure I mostly talked about the show's ratings, laughing at the fact that the show just didn't do that well, as much as people want to lie about it. But we have numbers that show that the show had a drop off, and it had about the same number of people watching it as Andor, which is sad. Like, a lot of people have just kind of checked out of Star Wars. I really can't wait to see another movie go to the theaters, because then we're going to get box office numbers, which we know, like, we'll have exact numbers on, unlike the streaming stuff where we kind of really don't know. The most we can do is compare it to other shows, with the shows that, like, Nielsen gives us, like, or Samba TV, they'll give us numbers and we can compare it to other Samba TVs, but we don't have direct numbers, and we never will, because they're never going to reveal them. If you are a proper good leader, you learn how to embrace and communicate, not dictate and silence and demand your actors and directors unfollow and shame more than half of your fan base and the people who have stuck with the franchise for decades. Absolutely true. Lucasfilm does not care, and they will go after the fan base. Pablo Hidalgo, current Lucasfilm person, is a great example of that. That guy will come out and shame you just for having an emotional response to Luke Skywalker like Star Wars Theory did. Remember that? It's crazy. A side note, don't say the Force is female and then allow only the men to express their political views online. In fact, just drop the ridiculous phrase completely. One of the problems your overlords are having now is that they've made a lot of people completely stop caring about one of the most beloved franchises in history, all by bullying, pushing progressive agendas, and trying to silence the people that criticize them. Absolutely true. That's what I was just saying. A lot of people just stopped caring. A A good example is like Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. I don't even see him cover Star Wars that much, and he was a huge Star Wars guy. People have stopped talking about it. No one really cares anymore because it's just kind of dead. Star Wars is dead. I don't know if it can ever be fixed. How are they able to tell stories they don't understand when the ones they identify with are the Empire? They are literally trying to squash the little guys, the rebellion. No wonder the storytelling is struggling. They fired and dehumanized people like me who did absolutely nothing wrong, all to virtue signal to people like you, the yes men. But yes men, unfortunately for you and them, don't drive culture. Maybe they were banking on the kids picking up the slack, but one of the best things about this franchise is passing it from generation to share. The competition is too high to throw out something as valuable as that. Why would one generation pass it on when you've disrespected and thrown them away? All of that is true. A lot of kids just not into Star Wars anymore. And it's going to get worse. Your overlords tried to hide behind the two opposing fan bases fighting each other instead of taking responsibility, so they encouraged the hate, All while virtue signaling, they are standing up for minorities, but instead using them as a shielded weapon. Funny enough, just how our government works. They think people will forget, and yes, maybe they will, but for this moment, they have heard the people's voice and it shook them. You're choosing to stick with their weak leadership who couldn't handle YouTubers saying mean things online, when all it would have taken is a true leader to step in, take the reins, take some responsibility, stop discriminating, apologize about the things that have been done, step completely out of politics, and be truly inclusive, and they'd be back in business. Until then, they're stuck with you, the yes men, and their plummeting stock. I'm not saying I'm right on all fronts, but I am open-hearted and refuse to discriminate based off of people telling me how to think and act, and it was something I needed to apologize for. I would have in a heartbeat, but I didn't say or do anything wrong. People come up to me daily to shake my hand and thank me for taking a stand, even people who think differently. One thing is true, good leadership makes for a better world, leading to healthier and happier people and better opportunity. Look around. We are watching the devastating effects of what bad leadership can do worldwide. Love it. This is why I love Giana Carano. Always willing to stand up for herself. And she revealed a lot of tea here. The biggest one to me is that they directly asked her to follow accounts like myself and G&G and so on, just because they say mean things, the whole Kathleen Kennedy. What's beautiful about this is now we can kind of come to the conclusion that she probably is pretty pissed off about that Star Wars episode, because they said a lot of mean things about her. So she's not happy about it, I would imagine. I can't wait to see what happens with the media when she calls her little vultures at the Hollywood Reporter and Variety to make articles going after the South Park creators. It's going to be fun when that happens, because we'll know exactly who ordered those hit pieces. Kathleen Kennedy. Anyway, another great tweet from Giana Carano. Star Wars is absolutely dead, and thank you, South Park, for bringing about some of the best Star Wars content we've seen in a long time, and it didn't even have any Star Wars content in it. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Check out my Rumble and Locals, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my Locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my Locals.